What's up, Monoxide? See, I'm not the biggest Bobby Lashley fan, but a little comment you made in your video, you said that nobody can defend Bobby Lashley without making good points. And I like you, buddy, but your ass is about to get pwned. First and foremost, I read on one of your comments, you typed that Steve Austin became a star after 2 years. From when I last checked, Steve Austin was wrestling for WCW since 1991, okay? So he's been wrestling a lot more than 2 years. Second of all, if you read Shawn Michaels' book, you would realize that the King of the Ring tournament was supposed to be originally won by Triple H. Now, does that mean anything? Yes, it does, because the WWE has stated that one of the reasons, the biggest reason why the Stone Cold Steve Austin character became so big was because of the birth of Austin 316, which was at the King of the Ring. The reason why Triple H didn't win the King of the Ring is because he got punished for the whole clit incident. So that argument that you made there just got shut down. Second of all, you're saying this whole thing about how when Brock Lesnar did the F5, it looked so powerful, but when Bobby Lashley does some of his moves, it doesn't look that good. Okay, first and foremost, if you've actually been watching a lot of wrestling and doing some research, you would heard of something called selling, okay? It all depends how the opponent, the person who's taking the move, sells the move. That's what makes the move better, not the person doing it. And speaking about Brock Lesnar is one of, if not the first person to do the F5 here in America, so it was never seen before. And another thing, this guy's a freak of nature. Come on, he's fucking huge and he's extremely athletic, and Brock Lesnar is one of those guys that comes every 5 years or every 10 years. And like Truth Slayer has pointed out, Brock Lesnar was actually given a mouthpiece, which is Paul Heyman, and he was able to speak for him. Bobby Lashley wasn't given one, okay? And another thing you're saying about Bobby Lashley, that he's not much of an athlete, I'm about to shut that down too, because if you actually watch Bobby Lashley in the ring, he's actually pretty fat, he's actually pretty quick, and he has a good looking double leg takedown. And the WWE has said that he's won more championships than he has, but if you look at his real life file, he's actually a 3-time wrestling champion. There's no way in hell you're going to be a 3-time wrestling champion in college if you're not an athlete. Now, he didn't wrestle for the NCAA, but still. Another thing, in WWE and TNA, how many people you know can fly over the third rope cleanly? Okay, you got The Undertaker, you got Samoa Joe, you got Hernandez, and you got Bobby Lashley. By that, I mean guys who are 270 pounds or more. In TNA, there's only 4 guys that, in TNA and WWE, is only 4 guys that are 270 pounds or more and can hop over the top rope. And I repeat, The Undertaker, Hernandez, Samoa Joe, and now Bobby Lashley. So he's not an athlete, right? You're saying this whole thing that he sucks in the ring and that the match with Chris Benoit was overrated. Well, first of all, I'm going to have to shut down another thing you said, because you said that that was a Greco-Roman match. No, that was a freestyle match. So please learn the difference between Greco-Roman and freestyle. Come on, it's insulting to wrestlers like myself. And so, see, here's the thing. Yes, a lot of people are carried to a good match, but when you're having a freestyle match, you mostly have to do the moves on your own. Yes, they can be taught, but you have to execute them on your own, and they were executed pretty good. Kind of slow, but still pretty good. And you're saying that match was overrated. How is it overrated? Okay, a lot of people just said the match was good. Nobody said it was match of the year. Nobody said it was match of the night, match of the week. So how was that match overrated? Everyone just said it was good, which it was. And speaking about the match with Chris Benoit, you said it was bad because he beat Chris Benoit with a slam. You know, that is ridiculous, and quite frankly, that is a very immature statement. So just because the match didn't end the way you wanted it to end, that means it was a good match? That means it was a bad match? That makes no sense whatsoever. So, and I repeat, so let's say you watch a match and you didn't get the finish that you wanted. That makes it a bad match? That's exactly what you're saying. So that makes absolutely no sense right there. Let's talk about Bobby Lashley's inexperience. Okay, this guy was basically recruited. So basically he went to OVW, he was recruited there, and then he went to SmackDown. Okay, a lot of these guys went to a wrestling school, hit the indie circuit, went to OVW, then they're in the WWE. So of course they're gonna have way more experience. And you're saying this whole thing about he's bad because he's a muscled up freak and that he takes steroids. Okay, the part about steroids, let me clear up a big misconception that many people like you don't understand. People who are extremely big aren't the only people that take steroids. You can take steroids and be 200 pounds. You could be 190 pounds and be a steroid user. You could be 180 pounds and be a steroid user. So people like you have this misconception that only people who are very, very big take steroids. No, that is not the case. Second of all, I feel that if Bobby Lashley uses his amateur background in the ring, he could have some awesome mat wrestling matches. You said that Brock Lesnar had classics with guys like The Undertaker and guys like Kurt Angle. Let me give you a reality check. The Undertaker is good at carrying people. Guys like Kurt Angle is good at carrying people. Shawn Michaels is good at carrying people. So of course he's going to have a good match with guys like that. How is he not? You know, you don't like Cena. And even you admitted that he had a great match with Shawn Michaels. Why? Because Shawn Michaels made him work in that match. So that point right there got shut down. You mean to tell me that if Bobby Lashley didn't have a match with Kurt Angle and he used some of his his wrestling moves and Kurt Angle used some of his wrestling moves, that wouldn't be a good match? Come on, dude. And finally, the last thing I gotta say is Vince loves big men, and every time he gets big men, he makes them do power moves. You know, The Undertaker is a bit different. I mean, he does do his power moves there, but he's a bit different because of his gimmick. Now, before the 1970s, he was making guys do nothing but power moves, and that's why you got Bobby Lashley doing power moves. You know, you're saying this whole thing about his voice. You know, that's immature. That makes no sense. Okay, he didn't choose to have that voice. He was born and he had that voice. How is that his fault, you know? And yeah, they're making him do power moves. What else do you want him to do? That's his character, okay? Look at he's the dominator. You know, he doesn't need much to beat you up. So there you go.